Spring is in the air, but friends, don't start celebrating just yet, because if you are making any of the skincare mistakes that we're about to talk about in this video, your skin might not make it through the seasonal transition. Are you making any of these skincare mistakes? Keep note and let us know in the comments. Now, mistake number 1, not adjusting your moisturizer. So in the earlier parts of spring, you might still be able to wear your winter moisturizer. I know I was able to. There's still days now, we damn near in April, where I can still wear my winter moisturizer because, you know, the weather. But friend, if your face is looking kind of shiny, not even kind of shiny, like it's just like shining, and just grease, you might want to go ahead and look into changing your moisturizer. Or if it's the exact opposite, where you're like, damn, I'm putting this moisturizer on and you know, it's just not, it's like it's not enough. You need to look into some things. And you might not even need to look that far, because the brand that you use currently for your moisturizer might actually make a formula that's either richer or lightweight for you to switch over to. Now, me myself personally, as the weather starts to warm up, I love a gel cream because they hydrate well without feeling super heavy. So some of my faves include the Undefined Beauty R&R Gel Cream, which is a Black-owned brand. You can get it at Ulta, and I'll link it in the description. But I've also recently tried these from some Korean brands. I believe they're both Korean. If not, you know, don't quote me. But this one is the Skin Barrier Calming Lotion from a brand called Ongredients. You know, like they change the preposition instead of ingredients, they're ingredients. And I heard about this because a fellow skincare influencer, Aisha Noor, was talking about it in a live. And I was like, girl, what you got then? And she was like, girl, I got this. And I was like, girl, I'm gonna get it. And girl, I got it. And then when I was doing research for a video, I think that published sometime in either January or February, I came across this one. On the packaging, it says Aqua Hyaluronic Acid Water Drop Cream. I will link these both in the description box along with some other gel creams. Now, gel creams do have a hierarchy. There are some that are very lightweight, but then you have some that are more hydrating, that are more moisturizing. So if you're somebody with dry skin, you don't have to rule out the gel creams. You just have to find one that works for you. And friends, finding a good moisturizer, you know, that does involve you actually trying it out. Like, I'm gonna link some in the description so you can, you know, have some place like a springboard to start from. You actually gotta try these out, get it on your skin, see how it works within your routine. If you wear makeup, see how it works with that. If you have an active lifestyle, see how it works with that. If as the weather changes, see how it works with that. So yeah. Mistake number 2. Thinking you can chill on the sunscreen, which I be like, where they do that at? Because honestly, the way that there are some of you guys who watch this channel, right? I would somewhat regularly, and you still not wearing sunscreen routinely? Y'all need to be studied. So sun exposure, particularly UVA. Now UVA, these are the rays that they don't give a damn. They will come at you through your car window, through your living room window, through your office window. Like that UVA be like, doo, 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 doo. That UVA, not only is it disrespectful coming through the windows and whatnot, but it also worsens pigmentation. So the discoloration, the hyperpigmentation, the melasma, you know, all that stuff that you trying to, you know, curb. That UVA is like, thought. And then UVA is also responsible for about 89% of the visible signs of premature aging, which is more than enough reason to put the bomba clot sunscreen on. And on top of that, there are things that we use in our skincare routine, like exfoliants, whether they're chemical or physical exfoliants, that make the skin more sensitive to the sun. Anyway, if you need help finding a sunscreen that you like, you're in luck, because I have a whole playlist where actually there's 3 sunscreen playlists. If you're looking for a tinted mineral sunscreen, there's a playlist for that. If you're looking for a chemical sunscreen, there's a playlist for that. If you're looking for a mineral sunscreen, there is a playlist for that. So, and then in the videos, not only do you get to see it, how it looks on a darker complexion like mine, but I'm also giving you like my thoughts, you know, so that way you can figure out like, okay, do I like that texture? Is that price point good? You know, yada, yada, yada. So, you know, go ahead and let have. Mistake number 3. I know a lot of people making mistake number 3. Are you one of them? So mistake number 3 is either overdoing it with exfoliation or not doing it at all. But I get it, because finding out how often you need to exfoliate can kind of be like, trying to figure out when you can jump in the double dutch rope, especially when the people turning, they real aggressive with it, and then you just trying to get in without getting your face slapped with that fast ass, hard ass cord. And see, the thing is, sometimes it's not even your fault. So, I'm gonna give you a little grace here, because a lot of these exfoliators say to use them daily. See, skin of color, especially when you are prone to hyperpigmentation, you have to be very careful about using certain actives, how often you exfoliate, how often you go outside without sunscreen. Now, that's not to say that, skin of color is so damn sensitive that you can't use certain actives and you can't use this and that and the third. You can, but what you want to do is do it smart. Be smart about it, right? All up in here about it, right? Now, before you try anything new to your skin, right? First of all, if it's an active ingredient, you're gonna go with the lowest percentage first. You don't wanna go all high, okay? Because if you go all high and that sucker is too strong for your skin, you're gonna go back down like this, a couple of levels. So start with the lowest percentage first, right? Before you even do anything crazy, do a patch test, because patch test should be able to, give you an idea, an inkling on how your skin is going to react to this product. If all is good, then you slowly introduce that product into your skincare routine, okay? Then if after some time you're not seeing any adverse reactions, maybe, depending on the product, maybe you increase how often that you use it. And then maybe when you're done with the product, maybe you're like, maybe I'll go with the higher percentage, but you don't just go right into the higher percentage. Once again, patch test. Slowly introduce it into your routine, and then, then you're good. But anyway, you don't want to exfoliate too much, because what can happen is you can impair the skin's barrier. The skin's barrier is there to protect you from all the stuff that is coming for your skin. And when the skin barrier is impaired, your skin can't protect itself like it should. And then you become susceptible to a lot of things that could wind up leading to hyperpigmentation. So if you have dry skin, exfoliate no more than 1 to 2 times a week. If you have oily skin, no more than 1 to 3 times a week. And also keep in mind, a lot of things that you are already doing to your skin count as exfoliation. If you're washing your face, just rubbing your hands on your face can count as exfoliation. If you wash your face or dry your face with a washcloth or even a paper towel, that counts as exfoliation. If you use a physical scrub, that counts as exfoliation. It's just, be easy. Mistake number 4, ignoring seasonal allergies and how they can affect your skin. Now, I'm about to tell you something I'm not particularly proud of, but we friends, we bestie. But if you ask any of my friends or my family members, they probably tell you that my nose has been running since they met me, right? And a lot of times it's because, I go from maybe like it's the cold air conditioning inside to the hot outside, or the cold outside into the warm inside with the heat. And then sometimes during the spring and sometimes during the winter, it just be leaking like a faucet. I try my best to, take my allergy medication and, just make sure I'm not all the time. So what happens is I'm constantly blowing my nose, and I have to blow my nose with special tissue. It has to be that soft with lotion tissue, or it has to be really, really soft. And it gets so bad that I got a little pack of tissue in damn near every purse and jacket pocket possible in my wardrobe, right? But sometimes I'm without a tissue and I wind up wiping my nose or blowing my nose with whatever is available. And sometimes that's a paper towel or one of them harsh, like you go to the public restroom and there's that thing and you gotta. Actually, if I'm in a public restroom, I would use toilet paper. But sometimes, there's those paper towel things and they just rough. Sometimes I got wipe my nose with that. And what happens is all of that friction, my skin is getting irritated and then it starts to sting. and if I'm not careful, which I usually am very careful, but you know, if I'm not careful, I get any kind of like skincare products on that irritated part, then my skin becomes even more irritated. And then, you know, down the line, that irritation can lead to inflammation, it can lead to hyperpigmentation, and it's a whole mess. Now, if you were wondering what I do to kind of mitigate the irritation from becoming more intense and spreading and whatnot is, you know, I'll put a little Vaseline on the affected area so that, you know, like it kind of acts as a barrier so nothing else is going in. Plus, it also helps the skin to heal a little faster. And you know what I also get sometimes? Sometimes, like this eye likes to tear quite often, and if it's windy, forget it. This eye is just like running water, running water, running water, running water. And sometimes, it doesn't happen often, it happened to me earlier today before I went to the gym. Sometimes it starts to burn in the corner here, and then I will get some irritation there. Maybe sometimes it gets a little puffy. But again, if I'm not careful, that area can wind up becoming discolored. Now, you know, just let me know in the comments, because if I'm not alone, because I'm like, damn, am I the only one that be going through this kind of stuff? Like, this is so stupid. But other spring allergies that could also affect your skin or, you know, your face. Puffy eyes, that's a common one. With puffy eyes, you can get something like an ice roller or a cold compress, or you can get a cold spoon, and that can help with some of the puffiness. There's also some eye creams and eye serums that help with eye puffiness as well. One thing I want to point out now, you probably don't want to put ice directly on your skin, because for some people you'll be fine, but for some people that can also be very irritating, and it could kind of do the opposite. Like you think it's cold, but it kind of burns you. Yeah, I've heard that before. Don't act like this is the first time you heard it, but you know, be careful out there. And also, if you're very susceptible to like puffy eyes and puffy face for allergy season, you also probably want to, you know, look at your diet and see where you can cut out some of that salt, because you know that salt. Other spring allergies, itchy skin, or any kind of like flare-ups. Depending on the type of flare-up you're having, if you've got really severe eczema or psoriasis or something like that, you know, obviously you're gonna have a conversation with your doctor. But a lot of these like itchy skin and flare-ups and things like that can be minimized some by taking showers at temperature levels that normal, sane human beings take showers in, instead of that hell hot water that y'all be taking showers in. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been telling y'all, you know, turn down the water temperature, but y'all want to be like, oh, but it feels so good and I burn my soul. Now your skin is itchy and you got a flare up. How about that? Now, mistake number 5, not refreshing your hyperpigmentation skincare routine. And you might be like, Danielle, bestie, what you talking about? I'm gonna tell you. Now, because of some of the unique issues that you can have with your skin during the springtime, you know, spring allergies, temperamental weather, like today it's like 44 degrees, but it's supposed to be 75 over the weekend, like being out in the elements more, you know, the pollen and all that other stuff or whatever's, you know, affecting you that's outside. And then plus being out in the elements more means you're more susceptible to UV exposure. But remember I told you that UVA, that sucker come through and get you through the window. But y'all be like, oh, but I live in a bunker down in the basement and I only come outside. You know, I don't even go outside. Anyway, all of this stuff that comes with the springtime and warmer weather can lead you into situations where you're more susceptible to getting hyperpigmentation. But friends, I ain't gotta be the one to tell you, not all hyperpigmentation is created equally. There are levels to this. Now, level 1, hyperpigmentation, you know, I feel like I coined this level 1 hyperpigmentation. I ain't hear anybody else calling it, you know, level 1 or whatever, right? Level 1 dark spots, these are things that you get, you know, you get a pimple, the pimple goes away. As the pimple goes away, you're like, damn, what's that? I got a dark spot now, right? That kind of dark spot, you see how quickly you like, oh, I got a dark spot, right? Those kind of dark spots, you can usually waltz into Walgreens, slide on into Sephora and get a dark spot treatment. And within 6 to 8 weeks of consistent use and wearing sunscreen, you're likely to see some really good results, right? However, them level 2 dark spots, those are the dark spots you've had for 4 months or more. Not as easy to get rid of. Like, you can try some of these over-the-counter treatments, you might get some results, but they might not be the kind of results that you're looking for, right? Them level 2 dark spots need to be handled differently. And that is exactly what we are talking about in this video here. We're breaking it down to level 1, to level 2, And by the way, I keep forgetting that I wrote this amazing skin consistency diary, right? Basically, this consistency diary is a must-have workbook that if you are trying to be more consistent with your skincare routine and you're trying to be more about that life when it comes to your skin, this is going to help you out because there's prompts in here. You write down your morning routine, your nighttime routine, write down any changes that you see, and there's a whole bunch of pages in here, and it's a nice hardcover. And every now and again, I hit you with one of my catchphrases here on the channel, like don't do the most, like we tell you I don't do the most. So this is available at Amazon. Okay, I will link it in the description box. So this is also a helpful guide in addition to watching this video. So click on this video here and I will see you there.